You know, there's a world right here on our own planet that we know less about than the surface of Mars.
It's a realm where sunlight has never once touched down, where the pressure is so insane it can crush steel, and where the rules of... And no, it's not some alien world across the galaxy. It's the deep ocean. More than 90% of the ocean is considered deep ocean, making up the vast majority of our planet's living space.
Yet, for most of human history, it's been a total mystery. A black hole on our own map. We've spent decades pointing our telescopes to the stars, dreaming about what's out there. The deep sea is, without a doubt, the largest and least explored habitat on Earth. It really is our planet's final frontier.
For centuries, it was a place of superstition and fear, home to sea monsters and krakens on old, crusty maps. But today, thanks to some wild new technology and a fresh spirit of exploration, we're finally starting to pull back the curtain on this abyss.
And what we're finding there is more wondrous, more bizarre, and more important than we ever could have dreamed.
We have mapped the entire surface of Mars in high resolution, but as of early 2026, we've only mapped, and when it comes to actually seeing it, we've visually explored less than 0.0001% of the deep seafloor.
In the next few minutes, we're going to journey to that world of crushing pressure and eternal darkness. To a place where recent expeditions are finding life forms that defy imagination.
What we're discovering is changing our fundamental understanding of life itself.
This is a voyage not into outer space, but into inner space, a descent into the most hostile. Get ready to leave the sunlit world behind. Get ready to leave the sunlit world behind. Get ready to leave the sunlit world behind.
At 200 meters, or about 650 feet, we cross into a realm known as the Twilight Zone. Down here, the sunlight is just a ghostly blue glow from a world far, far above. Photosynthesis, the engine that powers nearly all life on the surface, is out of a job. The kelp forests and phytoplankton fields are gone, replaced by a vast, open, and ever-darkening expanse. Life here has a tough choice: migrate to the surface at night to feed in the dark, or adapt to a life of permanent twilight. This is home to the lanternfish, its body dotted with light-producing organs called siphonophores, flashing secret codes in the gloom.
It's the realm of the vampire squid, a living fossil that's not a vampire or a squid,
which defends itself not with ink, but with a bizarre cloud of glowing, sticky goo. This is also where we first meet one of the most magical phenomena in the deep sea: bioluminescence. It's estimated that up to 90% of all life in the deep ocean can make its own light. This isn't just for show. It's a complex language of survival, used to attract mates, lure prey, and scare off predators. It's all thanks to a simple chemical reaction between a molecule called luciferin and an enzyme, luciferase. Some creatures flash brightly to startle an attacker, buying a precious second to escape. Others, like the hatchetfish, are more subtle. They have photophores on their bellies that produce a faint blue glow, perfectly matching the dim light filtering down. To a predator looking up from below, the fish's silhouette just vanishes, cloaked in its own light. As we sink deeper, past 1,000 meters, 3,300 feet, we enter a new world, the midnight zone. Here, the last photon of sunlight is gone.
The darkness is absolute, a blackness so complete it's almost impossible to imagine.
The temperature drops to just a few degrees above freezing, and the pressure starts to build.
And build.
At this depth, we're feeling over 100 times the atmospheric pressure at sea level.
That's like having 2 full-sized bags of cement balanced on your thumbnail.
This immense, crushing force is one of the biggest challenges for life and exploration.
It would implode a military submarine.
Yet, life finds a way.
The creatures here have evolved bodies that are mostly water, with no air-filled spaces like swim bladders that would be crushed. Their flesh is gelatinous, their bones soft and cartilaginous, letting them give in to the pressure instead of fighting it.
This is the home of the classic deep-sea monsters.
Think of the anglerfish, with its terrifying toothy jaw and a glowing lure, a built-in fishing rod and bait, dangling in front of its face.
That light, produced by symbiotic bacteria, draws smaller fish straight into its waiting mouth.
Then there's the gulper eel, which is basically a giant mouth with a long, whip-like body attached. It can unhinge its jaw to swallow prey much larger than itself. A handy trick in a world where you never know when your next meal will come. Food is incredibly scarce here.
With no sunlight, there are no plants.
The entire ecosystem runs on a constant, slow drizzle of organic stuff from the world above, known as marine snow. This snow is a mix of dead plankton, poop, and decaying animals sinking through the water. It's a meager feast, so life has become incredibly energy efficient, moving slowly and patiently, waiting for a meal to drift by. Now, we push even deeper, past 4,000 meters, about 13,000 feet, into the abyss. For a long time, scientists thought it was just an empty void. The pressure here is astronomical, over 400 times that of the surface, and the water is just above freezing. The floor of the abyss is a vast, muddy expanse called the abyssal plain. These plains cover about 40% of the ocean basin floor, and for decades, we thought they were biological deserts.
But we were wrong.
This muddy desert is teeming with life, from bizarre sea cucumbers that vacuum the nutrient-rich mud, to spindly tripod fish that stand on their long fins, waiting for the faintest vibration of prey. But the biggest surprise of the abyss was found in 1977.
Scientists in a small sub named Alvin were exploring a mid-ocean ridge
when they stumbled on something that shouldn't exist, a bustling ecosystem thriving in total darkness.
Towering chimneys gushed black, superheated water.
And all around them were giant tubeworms with blood-red plumes, ghostly white crabs, and dense fields of mussels.
No sunlight. No marine snow.
So what was fueling this impossible oasis?
The answer was chemosynthesis.
Instead of using sunlight, microbes at the base of this food web were using chemical energy.
The water blasting from these hydrothermal vents was rich in minerals from deep within the Earth's crust, especially hydrogen sulfide.
These amazing bacteria harnessed energy from chemical reactions to create food, forming an entire ecosystem completely independent of the sun.
It was a discovery that rewrote biology textbooks.
Life didn't need the sun.
Life, it turned out, finds a way. Finally, we reach the deepest parts of our planet, the Hadal Zone. Named after Hades, this zone includes the deep ocean trenches that plummet below 6,000 meters. The most famous is the Mariana Trench, and its deepest point, the Challenger Deep,
Is nearly 11,000 meters, almost 7 miles, straight down.
If you dropped Mount Everest in there, its peak would still be over a mile underwater.
The pressure here is over 1,000 times that at sea level, so intense it actually changes the chemistry of water itself.
For a long time, we thought it was physically impossible for any fish to live here.
But again, we were wrong.
In recent years, expeditions have filmed and even captured creatures like the Mariana snailfish.
A small, tadpole-like fish thriving at depths of 8,000 meters.
An even deeper snailfish was observed at 8,336 meters in the Izu-Ogasawara Trench.
These are the deepest living fish ever found, their gelatinous bodies perfectly adapted to a world that would instantly crush almost anything else.
Exploring the Hadal Zone is as hard as landing on the moon.
But every trip reveals that even in the deepest, darkest, most pressurized corners of our planet, life holds on.
To journey into this world of eternal night, you need more than courage. You need machines of incredible resilience.
The history of deep-sea exploration is a story of human ingenuity, of building vessels to withstand a realm more hostile than outer space.
It all started pretty humbly.
It was basically a thick steel ball with tiny quartz windows, dangling from a ship on a cable. They got down to 923 meters, becoming the first humans to see deep-sea animals in their natural habitat. It was both terrifying and monumental, but the tether meant they were stuck, dangerously tied to the whims of the surface.
To go deeper, we had to cut the cord. This led to the bathyscaphe, a free-diving submersible. The most famous was the Trieste. They piloted the Trieste to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. The sub was an engineering marvel, with a pressure sphere suspended beneath a massive float filled with gasoline, which is lighter than water and, critically, doesn't compress. Their descent took nearly 5 hours.
They only spent 20 minutes on the bottom, but they proved that the deepest part of the ocean wasn't a dead zone.
It was history in the making, but subs like the Trieste were clumsy and not great for science. A new era needed new tools. Today, our main eyes and hands in the deep are remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs. These are sophisticated, unmanned robot subs connected to a ship by a long fiber optic cable.
This cable sends power down and, most importantly, beams real-time data and video back up, letting pilots and scientists in a control room on the ship see everything and control the robot's every move. Think of an ROV as our robotic avatar in the abyss. They're loaded with powerful tools. High-definition cameras are our eyes. Powerful lights cut through the darkness. And maybe most important are the manipulator arms. These robotic arms, controlled with amazing precision, let us interact with the environment. They can gently collect a delicate glass sponge, take a mud sample, or measure the temperature of a hydrothermal vent. Famous ROVs like NOAA's Deep Discoverer or the Schmidt Ocean Institute's Sebastian are the workhorses of modern exploration.
They can stay down for days, working around the clock. The control room on the ship becomes a virtual mission control.
With scientists from all over the world often joining in remotely, watching the live feed and guiding the exploration from thousands of miles away. Working alongside ROVs are autonomous underwater vehicles, or AUVs.
Unlike ROVs, AUVs have no tether.
They're completely independent, pre-programmed robots. You give them a mission, drop them in the water, and they go off on their own.
Collecting data and returning to a rendezvous point.
AUVs are the surveyors of the deep.
They're often packed with advanced sonar systems and can systematically map huge areas of the seafloor, creating the first detailed maps of uncharted underwater mountains and canyons. These maps are crucial for identifying interesting spots to send an ROV later for a closer look. And while robots do most of the heavy lifting, there's still a vital place for human-occupied vehicles, or HOVs. Subs like the legendary Alvin, which has been diving for over half a century, or the new ultra-deep subs like the Limiting Factor, continue to take scientists right into the action. There's an undeniable power to seeing this world with your own eyes. The awareness a scientist gains from being physically present is invaluable, and often leads to discoveries that might have been missed on a video screen. But operating these vehicles is still a massive challenge.
The crushing pressure is a constant threat. A tiny flaw in a hull could lead to a catastrophic implosion. The cold, salty water is relentless, attacking metal and electronics, and communication is a huge hurdle.
Radio waves don't travel through water, which is why ROVs need that physical tether and why communicating with AUVs is painfully slow.
Then there's the cost.
Deep-sea expeditions are incredibly expensive, requiring large, specialized ships, highly trained. It's a major reason why so much of the deep ocean is still a mystery. It's not a lack of curiosity, but a bottleneck of resources. We have the tech to go there. But getting there is still one of the most difficult and expensive things we do in science. For all the challenges, the rewards are breathtaking. We are living in a golden age of discovery, where pretty much every trip to an unexplored part of the deep ocean comes back with something new. New species, new behaviors, new ecosystems. The pace is staggering. In recent years, the floodgates have opened.
Look at that incredible diversity.
The Ocean Census Project recently reported identifying 1,121 new marine species in a single year. Expeditions are revealing a world teeming with life science never knew existed. An exploration off Chile may have discovered over 100 new species on underwater mountains. A mission off Brazil turned up at least 31 new species, including ghostly gossamer worms and mesmerizing comb jellies. Another expedition to the Clarion-Clipperton Zone in the Pacific was a huge success, identifying 24 new species of tiny crustaceans. These aren't just slight variations of known animals. Some are so unique, they force us to redraw the evolutionary tree. The Pacific expedition didn't just find new species. It identified an entirely new superfamily, a major branch of life that was completely unknown. It's like discovering primates for the very first time. Let's look at some of these incredible recent finds. An expedition off Brazil brought back a treasure trove of new life from the midwater. That vast, dimly lit space between the surface and the seafloor. They found new species of siphonophores, strange colonial creatures made of specialized clones that work together, sometimes stretching for meters. They documented new types of gossamer worms and comb jellies that shimmer as they move. They even found giant single-celled organisms called rhizarians, big enough to be seen with the naked eye. A mind-boggling idea for a single cell. One of the most exciting finds was a large, rarely seen octopus, Halophron atlanticus, the seven-arm octopus. Females can grow up to 4 meters long. The team filmed one feeding on a jellyfish. Giving us priceless insight into an animal we mostly know from accidents in fishing nets. Farther south, off Argentina, another expedition documented at least 28 suspected new species. But the most fascinating discovery was a whale fall ecosystem nearly 3,900 meters down. A whale fall is exactly what it sounds like. A dead whale that has sunk to the seafloor. In the nutrient-starved abyss, a whale carcass is an unimaginable buffet, creating a unique ecosystem that can last for decades. First, scavengers like hagfish and sharks strip the soft tissue.
Then, worms and crustaceans colonize the bones.
The final and longest stage is the sulfur-loving stage. As fats in the bones break down, they release sulfides. This attracts chemosynthetic bacteria, just like at hydrothermal vents, which use these chemicals to make food.
This, in turn, supports a whole community,
including the bone-eating Osedax worms, often called zombie worms.
Recently, an international team discovered the deepest and largest whale graveyard ever recorded in the Indian Ocean.
The deepest active fall was found at about 6,800 to 7,000 meters.
Extending the known depth for these ecosystems by over 2,500 meters.
That site contained the remains of hundreds of whales, accumulated over millions of years. The tools are becoming as futuristic as the creatures.
On that Brazilian expedition, scientists used new imaging tech to create 3D models of delicate animals, without ever touching them. They also used onboard genetic sequencing, confirming new species in days.
The process that used to take years.
These discoveries are more than just a catalog of weird animals. They provide crucial information about the biodiversity and health of the deep ocean.
Many new species are found on seamounts.
Underwater mountains that act as biological hotspots.
Finding new deep-sea coral and sponge gardens is especially important,
as they provide critical shelter for countless other species, the cities of the deep. Each new creature tells a new story of survival. And with estimates suggesting that up to 90% of ocean species are still awaiting discovery, it's easy to look at the bizarre creatures and crushing darkness and think of the deep sea as some remote, alien world.
totally disconnected from our lives. But that couldn't be more wrong. The deep ocean isn't just a cabinet of curiosities.
It's a critical part of our planet's life support system, and its health is tied directly to our own. First off, the deep ocean is a massive player in regulating our climate.
The ocean as a whole has absorbed over 90% of the excess heat, and a huge chunk of the carbon dioxide we've pumped into the atmosphere. The deep sea acts as a giant heat and carbon sink. Warm surface water travels to the poles, cools, sinks,
and takes that heat and CO2 with it into the abyss, locking it away for centuries.
Without this process, our planet would be a much, much hotter place. The deep ocean is also a vast library of biodiversity. We marvel at rainforests, but the deep sea is the largest habitat on Earth. Filled with a diversity of life we're only just beginning to grasp. And this biodiversity holds incredible potential for science and medicine.
Organisms that survive extreme pressures and temperatures have evolved unique biological compounds.
Researchers are already looking at these extremophiles for new antibiotics and anti-cancer drugs. It's worth noting that the key enzyme that made modern DNA testing and PCR possible came from a microbe discovered in a hot spring in Yellowstone,
not the deep sea.
However, other valuable enzymes for biotechnology have been found in deep-sea vent organisms. The cure for a future disease could be hidden in the cells of a deep-sea sponge.
But this vital realm is facing serious threats.
Climate change is making the ocean more acidic, which can dissolve the shells of corals, clams, and tiny plankton at the base of the food web. Ocean warming is also creating expanding dead zones with low oxygen. Perhaps the most immediate threat, though, is deep-sea mining. The abyssal plains are home to vast deposits of minerals critical for our technology.
Potato-sized polymetallic nodules, rich in nickel, cobalt, and copper, litter the seafloor.
The very metals needed for electric car batteries and smartphones. As land-based mines run low, companies are looking to the deep. The consequences could be devastating. Mining would involve giant machines scraping the seafloor, destroying habitats that took millions of years to form, and wiping out entire communities. It would kick up huge sediment plumes that could drift for hundreds of kilometers, choking filter-feeding animals like corals and sponges. The noise and light pollution would be completely alien to a world of darkness and silence. Many of these deep-sea species are incredibly long-lived and slow-growing. A deep-sea coral might be thousands of years old. An ecosystem destroyed by mining might not recover for millennia, if ever. We could be destroying a world we haven't even had a chance to explore. Wiping out species before we even know they exist. That's why a growing chorus of scientists and nations is calling for a moratorium on deep-sea mining, until we understand what's really at stake. We have to decide if we will treat the last frontier on our planet as a resource to be stripped,
or as a precious wilderness to be explored, understood, and protected. We've journeyed into the abyss and seen creatures that defy imagination. But the exploration is just beginning. Every dive reveals a new mystery, a new piece of the puzzle of life on Earth. Which of these discoveries did you find the most fascinating? The city of life around a hydrothermal vent. the zombie worms of a whale fall? Or one of the strange new gelatinous creatures from the midwater? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to join us on future expeditions into the unknown, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Our journey from the twilight world of living light to the crushing pressure of the Hadal trenches has taken us through the largest and last, truly wild frontier on our planet. We've seen that life, in its endless tenacity, has conquered absolute darkness, freezing cold, and unimaginable pressure. It has learned to make its own light. To build communities on chemical energy from the Earth's core.
And to thrive in places we once thought were empty.
The deep ocean is a place of incredible contrasts. It's ancient, yet we're just now discovering it. It's dark and seemingly empty, yet it's teeming with life and light. It feels impossibly remote, yet it's essential to the stability of our climate and the health of our planet.
We stand at a precipice, not unlike the edge of a deep-sea trench. We have the tools to explore this world. But we also have the tools to exploit and destroy it.
The choices we make in the coming years will decide the future of this vast, mysterious, and vital realm.
The map of our own planet is still being drawn, in real time. In the crushing dark thousands of feet below. The greatest discoveries are still waiting for us.
And the biggest question is whether we will have the wisdom to protect this last unknown world before we've even had the chance to truly know it.